Kids and cadets, welcome back to Tommy Time. Appreciate you coming out. Spent a little time today on this WeedEater 22-inch. It's got the 500 series Briggs & Stratton engine, 158cc. So this came in with the key mower. This was flooded as well. The key mower. And this one, along with 6 rider mowers, were flooded with 6 feet of water. So the key mower, that's the last thing I worked on. And I checked compression. We have about 30 pounds PSI. The key mower had a quantum on it and it was locked up. I oiled up the cylinder and worked it and finally broke it free to do 360, but we still have shitty compression. This thing here, same deal, but this one spun over. There was no locking up of the engine, so I took it all apart, painted the recoil, degreased it, redid the carb diaphragm, drained the oil. The oil, when I went to drain it and turn the engine on the side and let it drain into a container, the first few seconds was strictly water, and then the oil started coming out. So the whole bottom of the crankcase had water in it. So I've put half used oil and half used ATF transmission fluid in just to start it and work all that moisture out of the sump and any sludge, and then I'll drain that off. So when I had it on the side, a bunch of oil also poured out of the muffler. You can see the remaining oil there. So what we can do is look at the underside here, and then I'll show you an example about replacing the diaphragm. I've shown you before, but I'm going to do it again today. So what year is this? I'll put all that jazz down below. It's a 22-inch and it has a production date of 08, 9th month, 2nd day of 2008. The engine model 10 Tango 502 1022 Bravo 1. I'll put that down below. So I had it on my table, had the wheels off, greased up the wheels, so I must be confident this thing's going to start, because if it doesn't, I went to a lot of work. So this back bracket on both was wobbly. You can see the other little tab that should go here is missing, so I put a small screw and nut through the hole up here to keep this thing from wobbling back and forth. So I did that. Blade looks fine, but you can see all the rust there where this thing was sitting in a pool of water. Really rusty, but not terribly bad. Blade looks fine. It's got a little bit of a edge on it. So that's that. Did the same thing on this side. Nut and bolt. Still has the mulcher stop there. You hardly see those. They get thrown away or lost. Put another cable on it. Cable was rusty and stuck. So I found another cable that would work. And let's bring you over here. So when I had the tank off, I add apple cider vinegar. This is just a spare tank I have. So I left that in for a few hours to get rid of any rust in the tank. Cleaned all that out. So when it came time to do my diaphragm, I cleaned out the little fuel sump that had a lot of white crusty in it, cleaned that out. So when I took the old diaphragm off, I saved the paper gasket. When you order these, here's two different part numbers for the diaphragms for these. If you could see that. There, now we're in focus. If you use 495770, you'll get a hit. You can get, I think, 3 of these on AliExpress for $2.50. I just looked. But what you'll get is a rubber gasket and a paper gasket. Let me cut this open and I'll show you. So try to save your paper gasket from the other, uh, from the original carb when you're doing this. Try, maybe use a razor to get it off. So this is what you get in the kit, rubber and paper. So what I do, if I can save the original paper, I'll put the brand new paper gasket down. Like so. Then your rubber gasket, put that down, and then the used paper on top. And then you can put your carb on, something like that. Because what happens is this is a new carb, but if you have an old carb, they tend to warp here on the plastic, so having the two paper sandwiched between the rubber takes up any warping or imperfection in the plastic. If you can't save the original paper one, the factory way is rubber down and then paper on top. If you can't salvage your old paper gasket, that's how it should go. Rubber down against the metal, then paper, and then your carb on top. But I always can save the paper one. I just, if it seems a little stuck, I just take a razor and go around the edge of it and save it. So that's what I did for the carb that's on. It cleaned out my little fuel pocket here really well. So came in with a decrepit air filter. I put a new one together, degreased everything. So I'm gonna move this thing back onto the concrete, fuel it, and go. Well, came in with a broken rope. Rope was broken there, so I rethreaded it. So not bad. There's no rust down there, so I'm not gonna red coat it with my sealer. I think I have one other green machine weed eater like this in the back. Same deal, yellow wheels with the Pulsa Prime carb. So I'm hoping this starts. As far as the quantum on that key mower, I was looking around my salvage yard. I have a 6.5 quantum that's 3 or 4 years newer. I think the key is an '01. The rusted out Craftsman with the quantum is an '04. The whole front of the deck is rusted through. Back here is rusted through on the Sears, but the engine looked complete. So I'm in the process of rust busting the bolts for the deck so I can get the engine off, and I may use that 6.5 as a replacement. If I can't bring up compression, I fill the cylinder again with oil, trying to get better than 30 psi. But I've got enough junk mowers with quantums. I want to put a quantum on it instead of another Predator engine, because then I would have to modify the setup with all the throttle cables and whatnot. If I use the same quantum engine that's a little bit newer, it doesn't matter. All the brackets and whatnot are going to be the same. If I get a Predator, I'll have to manipulate it, and I don't want to manipulate. I want to make it easy peasy, remove and replace, R&R. I'm just not sure what the size engine on the key mower is. It may be a 675. This one here on the dead Craftsman is 650, 6.5. I don't think it'll matter too much. Okay, probably should have left that off. I do that all the time so I could see if it was priming. But I can hear it pushing fuel, so it's priming perfectly. What are you guys going to call it? 1 pull or 2 pull? And it's going to smoke like the dickens because, like I said, oil was pouring out of this muffler. Okay, place your bet. I always go with 2 pull Annie. You guys figure it out. That was 1. That was 2. Blew a lot of smoke but stalled. Let's try it again. 3 primes. We had a 2 pull Annie. Okay, fantastic. Still smoking, but that's fine. If you saw all the oil that was pouring out of there, this thing might smoke for a minute or two. So I'm really happy with this WeedEater. Under 6 feet of water, a little bit of maintenance, and we're back in business. So yes, yes, yes on this. So scrapper that lives in the neighborhood stopped by yesterday. He had some gas cans, and he says, "Oh, I got a mower for you." But this was under a bunch of patio furniture, a barbecue grill. It was in the bottom of his trailer. All I could see was that it was a Turo. I couldn't tell anything else. So I says, "Yeah, I'll give you 20 for it." He says, "Okay, I'll bring it tomorrow. I got to go to the scrap yard. I unload. I'll come to you with the Turo." So I got to look at this thing. Kind of in rough shape. Don't know anything about it. Looks kind of rough. The model 20371 looks like maybe it's a 2012. So he had given me this still saw a couple months ago, and I've been dragging my butt. He wanted me to change the air filter, change the blade. Blade wasn't bad. He wanted me to put a new blade on it for him, so I did that. I had this thing all apart, degreased it, checked the rope, and the rope looked like this. I cut it to get it off, but shredded in the middle. So when I saw him yesterday with this, I says, "Hey, I'm checking your saw. Do you want me to change the rope? It's not looking good." And he said, "Yeah, go ahead and change it." So I rethreaded that. So when he dropped it, he says, dropped it off. He says, "Yeah, it works. It starts." And so I just tried it, and it does start. I was surprised, because usually people say stuff runs and it doesn't, but it did run, and I cut a couple of dead limbs on an oak tree to test it out, so it ran fine. So I'm going to give him back his still. I guess they call this a climbing saw. You hook this to your belt, climb the tree, lift this. It's very lightweight. I'm lifting it with one arm. The Mike Sierra 193 Tango. So that's done. So that's what I'm messing with. Scrapper that delivers brought me a couple of turds, a Turo like this, but one wheel's missing. The handle was folded down and all screwed up. So this one here is in better condition than that one. Then a standard pusher. So I got two from the scrapper that delivers. But I only gave him 20 bucks, 10 each, because the stuff looked rough. I guess I was kind of tough. I didn't throw him a lot of bread. Anyway, so that's the deal. The WeedEater worked. I'm glad it did, because I had spent some time going through this thing. If you need diaphragms, you can use either one of these numbers and you'll get a kit, the rubber and paper. You guys got any questions, concerns? Tommy.time@yahoo.com is my email. If you want to complain, compliment, show me pictures of your turds. What are you guys working on? Bruce Beavers, got 50 sold already, and I haven't sold but maybe 3 or 4. We have a late season down here in Southwest Florida. The grass is still dormant. You guys up north have got a head start, but hopefully I can catch up and sell some junk on 4 wheels. How are the rest of you doing in sales? Let me know. You guys have a good rest of your day. Thanks for coming out. Like I said, I'm happy with this WeedEater 22-inch. I'll put that model number down below and the engine number for this thing, in case you guys got one similar. All right. Tip your waitress and wait staff. Adios, amigos.